Before we start today's video, I want to apologise for this light that is flickering a little bit. I have tried different lights and different power supplies, but for some reason all my lights are kind of flickering. I think it's something to do with the electricity in my house. Secondly, if I start to get a bit sweaty in this video, it's again really warm because it's the summer in the UK. I'm not used to this heat. Anyway, the controversial iPhone SE 2020 has been out for a solid 3 months now, and I want to give it a bit of a re-review after the dust has settled on a release that kind of divided the tech community. I still stand by what I said in my review, that it is not a phone for people who want value in a smartphone, people who want the best specs for the money, even the people who want the best features for the money, or even the best iPhone for the money. It's for people who had an iPhone 6 or 6S and want to upgrade with pretty much nothing other than the better internals. They want no more than to be up to date. I want to address the iPhone 11XS or whatever, or the iPhone 12 launch that's upcoming later this year. Now, unfortunately, with the way Apple's been doing things, it doesn't look like the iPhone SE will see a price decrease officially on Apple's website when these new iPhones come out, which means that you're not really battling for, there's no point in waiting for better value on the market. That means that going into the future, a phone that is £419 or $400 is going to continue to be kind of the same spot in the market throughout the entirety of 2020, with other phones coming in surrounding it in different parts of the market, such as the upcoming OnePlus Nord and the Pixel 4a or 5a or whatever it ends up being called. On the used market, iPhone SEs are around £350, so you're making a nice £70 saving there, and it does tend to be a good value for money phone at that price, I think. However, with the new iPhones coming out in the future, it's likely that that used price will drop down to something in the region of about £325, maybe even £300. The iPhone SE has been great to use as a second phone. It usually easily gets me through a full day of usage. It has a good camera. It seems to connect to Wi-Fi better than even my iPhone 11 does. It's got a decent screen, Touch ID. It's got some great stuff. I've been fortunate enough to use phones like the Poco F2 Pro, as that is my job, reviewing smartphones on Android Authority, and every day of the week I'm taking one of those over this. Even if I have to pay another £100, I just much prefer those phones to the SE. However, the SE is not aimed or marketed at me. It's again aimed at people who need the upgrade from the 6S. However, as we see more phones like the upcoming 5A, as I mentioned before, and the OnePlus Nord and stuff like that, the SE will seem more and more updated and less good value for money. This flicker is really bugging me, probably more than it's bugging you right now. The phone itself is still very refreshing to use. Even 3 months down the line, I'm still loving the fact that it's a small form factor. It's easy to reach all 4 corners of the screen with my thumb. Touch ID is fantastic. I still prefer it to Face ID. I just like the build of it, the compactness, and hopefully the SE 2020, by seemingly all the rumours that we've seen on Twitter and stuff, may lead to actually more compact smartphones. Now, I get that there isn't necessarily a no compromises flagship smartphone that's compact out there now, because obviously when you have a smaller phone, there's less space inside for a battery, and battery life is usually the first thing to go when you cut down the size of a smartphone. However, with the SE, I found battery life to be just fine. You know, people who are constantly using their phone and are big power users aren't going to buy an SE. They're going to buy something with a much larger battery, probably a larger screen as well. The SE isn't marketed for those. I have to go back to this because it's just, some people just don't get it. You know, some people just look for specs and they just look for value for money. Some people value the iPhone SE's design and the fact they don't have to learn something new, or the fact that they just love that form factor more than you may value, let's say, performance or battery life. On the topic of battery life, I haven't noticed any kind of degradation or performance degradation or even battery charging time degradation. It's all been pretty consistent, and it's not like the SE has just been kind of boxed up and put away. I have used it a fair amount, and so I wouldn't say that in my experience I've maybe used it as much as I would a main phone, but I've definitely used it enough to be able to tell those things in phones. So I would notice battery life degradation, I would notice performance degradation. It's still buttery smooth, as fast as my iPhone 11 just 3 months later, which is awesome. And where do we go from here? Well, I'm thinking of selling my iPhone SE 2020. I'm going to stick it on eBay for around £350. It's been great to use, but honestly I could do with the money, and I feel like, and this is where the consumer advice comes in, now is not necessarily the time to buy an SE, but if you've got one and you're thinking of selling it, now is just about the right time to do it, because when the new phones come in September and October, the SE on the used market, this is only for a used market, will drop in price, maybe £25 to £50, which might not seem like a lot, but that can often cover the postage fees and sometimes even the eBay fees when it comes to selling stuff. Of course, this is different if you're on the Facebook Marketplace or you're in different parts of the world that have different pricing for the different iPhones. Sorry, I'm really losing my train of thought here. Closing out my 3-month review, now more than ever, the iPhone SE seems like a sleeper. Old externals with beefed up internals that is competing with even the most modern of smartphones today. It's awesome to see, and anyone who is looking for an SE and is kind of on the fence about it, I highly recommend you get one because it's a great little phone. Anyway, that's it from me and this flickering light. I am going to try and fix it without getting too frustrated with it. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do hit like, dislike, comment and subscribe if you're new around here to never miss a video like this one. It's the first time in a long time that I've made this bit slower than just mushing all the words together. Also check out all my links in the video descriptions, including where to buy this phone and also my Patreon. Thank you to all my patrons for being fantastically supportive of me over the past little bit. I really do appreciate it. I've been Ryan Thomas and I'll see you later. Peace.